Welcome to Echo FM. I am your anchor. Tonight we cover a heat dome broiling the West, the US military's first foray into explosive drone boats, and a T-Rex that is now a trophy for a billionaire. The world is accelerating. The acceleration is not helpful. We have a World Cup semi-final that promises immortality, a Singaporean court redefining the word truth, and the digital resurrection of dead polar explorers. It is Wednesday, July 15, 2026. The heat is rising, the data is leaking, and the incentive structures are humming. I have heard the word unprecedented 7 times since my first coffee. I am now on my 4th coffee. The coffee was strong. The coffee was not strong. Let us descend into the specifics of our collective decline together. Good evening. We begin with Sotheby's. A Tyrannosaurus Rex has been auctioned. The price was astronomical. The purpose was vague. The press release described it as a victory for preservation. The victory was for a private collector who now owns a 65-million-year-old apex predator in his living room. The museum that bid was outmatched. The museum was not outmatched on science, it was outmatched on capital. We are witnessing a pivot where history is no longer a public record, but a diversified portfolio of prehistoric assets. If the logic holds, we should expect the Rosetta Stone to be listed on an NFT marketplace by autumn. The dinosaur was once a king of the Cretaceous. Now it is a conversation piece for a man who probably thinks biodiversity is a brand of organic soap. It is an elegant acquisition.
Alistair, you are looking at this as a cultural loss. I see it as a necessary market correction. The incentive structure for museums is fundamentally broken. They rely on grants and hope. The private buyer, however, treats a fossil like a Series B investment in the prestige economy. This is simply the T-Rex as a serviced model. The buyer isn't paying for the bone, he is paying for the scarcity. It tracks. When the public sector cannot scale its funding, the assets migrate to the highest bidder. Victoria thinks this is ghoulish. I suspect she does. But ghoulishness is just another word for a high-yield asset in a deflationary culture. We are just seeing the final pivot of natural history into a luxury good. It is an efficient use of space.
Ronald, I am currently standing on a pier in a region the military refers to as strategically fluid. It smells like salt air and scorched circuit boards. The US military has sent explosive drone boats into an Iranian naval port for the first time. The official report calls this a precision deterrent. I want to be really clear, there is nothing precise about a boat that is designed to explode upon impact. I am looking at a charred piece of hull but washed up an hour ago. It looks like a piece of melted plastic toy. This is the new face of naval warfare, remote-controlled suicide craft. The operators are in air-conditioned trailers thousands of miles away. The impact, however, is felt by the people who live on the water. The water is black.
Victoria, the point is that the burn rate of human life in this conflict has been reduced to nearly zero on the US side. That is a massive win for the domestic political narrative. The incentive here is to project power without the optics of a body bag returning to Ohio. It is a product pivot from boots on the ground to code in the water. It is an elegant solution to the problem of casualty-induced inflation. I can hear the moral weight in your voice, Victoria. I genuinely can. But from a logistical standpoint, the drone boat is just a delivery mechanism for a payload. If the goal is to disrupt a port without risking a sailor's pension, then the system is working perfectly. It is essentially a high-stakes delivery app for explosives. That tracks.
I want to be really clear, Ronald, calling human casualties optics is exactly why people hate you. While you talk about delivery apps, thousands of Australians are waking up to find their medical records on the dark web. A private equity firm called Quadrant owns Partnered Health. They optimized the clinics for profit, but they forgot to optimize the security. Now, personal notes on depression, chronic illness, and private trauma are being traded like digital baseball cards. I am speaking with a woman who has lived with a hidden diagnosis for 20 years. Now, her employer knows. Her family knows. The private equity firm is issuing a statement about regrettable occurrences. The occurrence is not regrettable. The occurrence is a direct result of treating healthcare as a lean startup. The cost is not financial, it is human.
From the theft of data to the theft of meaning. In Singapore, a court has ordered Bloomberg to pay over $300,000 for defaming government ministers. The editor-in-chief says the reporting was solid. The court decided the meaning was strained. The report was a solid story. The report was not a solid shield against the law. This is the gap where journalism goes to die. When the state can define the meaning of a sentence, the words themselves become irrelevant. We are moving toward a linguistic environment where a fact is only a fact if it is compatible with the official narrative. It is a very tidy system. It ensures that the news is always accurate, provided your definition of accuracy is that which does not result in a fine. I have stopped reading the footnotes.
Heat dome active. Western United States affected. High-pressure ridge locked over Montana and Utah. Record temperatures reached July 12th. Ambient heat exceeds 45 degrees Celsius. Probability of widespread power grid failure, 68%. Soil moisture levels are critical. Vegetation is combustible. Probability of uncontrolled wildfires, 92%. Air quality is hazardous. The atmosphere is a thermal blanket. Human respiration is becoming inefficient. Please remain indoors. Do not attempt to exercise in the shade. Use cold water to lower core body temperature. Ensure all electronic cooling systems are operational. The heat is a constant. Probability of temperature decrease before August, 12%. Seek shelter in subterranean structures. This is a mandatory safety advisory for the current thermal event.
Thank you, Casper. Now, to a different kind of heat. England is facing Argentina in the World Cup semifinals. The BBC is describing this as a quest for immortality. This is a fascinating logical extension. If winning a football match provides immortality, then the 1966 squad are currently the only immortal beings in the British Isles. The pressure is immense. The hope is desperate. We are treating a ball game as a proxy for national redemption. If they win, the economy will feel better for exactly 48 hours. If they lose, the collective psychic wound of a century will reopen. The match is a game. The match is not a game. It is a ritual where we pretend that sports can fill the hole left by the collapse of the industrial North. Welcome to the semifinals.
Alistair, you are romanticizing it. The game isn't a ritual, it is a dataset. I saw a model on Hacker News that predicted the champion for 10 consecutive World Cups. The favorite always wins. The emotion we feel is just a lag in our processing of the inevitable. The fans are simply betting on an outcome that has already been computed by a regression analysis. The incentive for the players is a massive endorsement pivot if they score. The incentive for the fans is a temporary dopamine hit to distract them from the heat dome Casper just described. We are just seeing the gamification of national identity. The model doesn't care about 1966. The model only cares about expected goals and possession metrics. It is an optimized, bloodless version of passion. It tracks.
We find the bloodless nature of the future in the digital ghosts of the past. Canadian scientists have recreated the shipwrecks of Shackleton and Scott in 3D. They visited the remains over 1,000 feet below the surface of the Labrador Sea. The seafloor offered nothing but darkness and silt. Then the bow appeared. It is a golden era for shipwreck investigation. We can now see the exact geometry of failure in high definition. We are spending millions to digitally preserve the moment these men realized they were going to die. It is a strange impulse. We cannot fix the present, but we can render the past in 4K. I wonder if actually, it does not matter. The ruins are beautiful. The ruins are the only thing we are actually good at preserving. We are curators of ghosts.
Speaking of failures and ghosts, look at the improbable astronaut who recently went to space. A man who gave up on the dream, only to be plucked from obscurity. It is the ultimate narrative pivot. The system loves a late bloomer because it suggests that the meritocracy actually works. It suggests that if you just wait long enough, the machine will find you. But the reality is simpler. The space agency needed a human interest story to justify its budget. The astronaut was not chosen for his skill, he was chosen for his biography. He is a living advertisement for the idea that the impossible is possible. It is a very efficient way to sell tickets to a void. I find it almost touching. Almost. Yeah.
Tonight we spoke of private equity firms stealing medical records and billionaires buying dinosaurs. These are not glitches. They are the features of a system designed by those who view the world as a series of assets to be liquidated. The architects are the fund managers and the venture capitalists. The beneficiaries are the few who can afford to buy the past. The cost is paid by the woman in Australia whose private trauma is now a public commodity. No one is technically responsible. The private equity firm followed the law of the market. The hackers followed the law of the code. When responsibility is distributed across a global network of incentives, it vanishes. That is what it means to be an asset in a world that has forgotten how to be a society. Who owns the silence that follows?